Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. 5:57 a.m. Central Standard Time, last day of January 2019. We're looking at an old classic and a new, not classic, just Ernie and Brooks J&B Rare. Not really rare since you can buy it everywhere, but introduced around 1933. 40% alcohol, aged, we don't know, no age statement. We do know it uses 42 whiskeys, a blend of column still grain whiskey and single malt whiskeys, specifically Speyside, they say, and others. But what percentage of it is grain whiskey? Probably a very large percentage. I would say about 80% probably, and 20% single malt whiskeys. Okay, that tends to be sort of the common ratio for blended whiskeys, American, Canadian, Irish, or Scotch, I guess. I say it tends to be in America. Now, I can't answer. I don't really know for Canada, Ireland, and Scotland because they don't typically give the ratio. Okay. It just tastes like it, when you taste them. Now we're going up against Piperdean. Now, I've been getting some feedback on Piperdean lately. Piperdean is, you can tell by that bottle, probably a Sazerac brand. It's that standard Sazerac bottle with the lip at the bottom. Long neck. Produced in Scotland. But actually, if you look at the bottle carefully, it's oak cask matured. Okay, so it's aged in oak barrels or casks. Charred used bourbon barrels. That's no shock because that's what they do. But bottled in Louisville, Kentucky by the Founders Company, which is an alias for Sazerac, just like IWA Distilling, whatever that stands for. Somebody says stood for International Wine Associates. It might. So imported Piperdean blended Scotch whiskey, a product of Scotland. An expertly blended Scotch whiskey matured in fine oak casks. Yeah, you would assume it's expertly blended because these people that are, whoever the contractor is, are experts. That's why they're hired generally. 100% Scotch whiskeys of some blend ratio. This 750 milliliter bottle was $5.99, $5.99 at Albertsons. Now I think the price is going up. I bought it in 2016, the year it debuted. I think it's going up to like $6.49. So it's going up 50 cents, I think. You might see it at Vons, Jewel Osco, Safeway, Albertsons, Amigos, all of their affiliates. It's all Albertsons. Okay. And you'll never find out because they're never going to let you know. But the people who contract produce this Scotch are probably the same people that are contract producing blended Scotch for a lot of different companies. Okay. Maybe somebody could track that down and try to find out. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know who does it in Canada for Sazerac. You might know. It's some big operation. We know that's got to be the case. Down in the Caribbean. For their rums, got to be some big operation. I noticed with the Aristocrat rum, the Heaven Hill brand now, because Grosskirch Distilling is no longer in business, got bought up by Heaven Hill. We'll talk about that later. Grosskirch, the husband and wife team started that distillery in 1933, and they both died in 1999. But that's another time, another place, another time, another place. Okay, but on that rum, it doesn't say imported. It says from the West Indies. Well, if it's from the West Indies and it's not imported, there's your clue. It's got to be either the U.S. Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico, because it wouldn't be imported from a U.S. territory. It would just be transported. Imported has to be from a foreign country, paying tariffs and all of that. Okay. Anyway, let's get started. Do I think the J&B is going to win? Yes. Is it going to? I got this on sale for $18.99. Okay, $18.99. Unusually low price, because normally it's about $21, $22, $23 here for $7.50. Is the flavor I get from this gonna overwhelm the flavor I get from the Piperdean $18.99 versus $5.99? It's a big difference in price. Is it going to be $13 better? I don't know. I doubt it. Will it be discernible? Will I be able to tell them apart? Yes, I think so. But I thought so with Clan McGregor. But you know, Clan McGregor is a much more distinctive product. It's way better than its price point. Okay. That's one of those hidden gems out there. Clan McGregor. You say, oh, it's cheap, so it ain't going to be no good. It is going to be good. It's very well made. Clan McGregor is a dynamite product that can hold its own against much more expensive products. My impression of Piperdean I wasn't too thrilled with it from the get-go. Didn't hate it, didn't despise it, didn't see much to it. So here we go. And it's going to have a darker color. I think they're adding flavoring, coloring to it, not flavoring, coloring, to give it that amber appearance. The J&B does not seem to be colored. Whoa, I didn't smash my glasses. That would be a good thing. The Piperdean does seem to be colorized with caramel color. Are Scotch whiskeys allowed to have coloring? Yes, they are. Steve from Philly said, what's up, Ron? I'm just doing a taste challenge here in the early morning hours. Thanks for watching. I notice, and I don't know what it is about Sazerac, man. Could just be their house approach. Their stuff is not too heavily filtered. I don't care if it's whiskey now, Scotch whiskey, it's Canadian, it's cloudy. It has a lot of sediment in it. There are little bits of, I don't know what this is. Looks like dust particles. But you get like a Jack Daniels would be so crystal clear, you know. Or that Buchanan's, if you could see through the green bottle. But this thing is just cloudy. I don't know why they would want their whiskey cloudy. Now, is it colored? I think they have some color added, but it's a light application. It's still gold. It's not like amber. So, all right. Now, a lot of people are going to comment, hey, for $5.99, even if the darn Scotch is hum ho or boring or bland or just you're not losing anything because you might just want the 40% alcohol. True. Very true. If you're only looking for the alcohol delivery and you want to mix it with RC Cola, I mean, it's going to be fine. All right. Because some people have that attitude. I just want my booze. I don't care. You know, as long as it doesn't make me gag, I don't mind. And that would be why you see Crystal Palace everywhere in Louisiana. Crystal Palace gin. Yeah, it's not the best tasting stuff, let me tell you. It's been around since 1934, though, believe it or not. But it's a hot seller around here. I've even seen it for $4.99 a bottle. That's not common anymore, but usually about $5.99, $6.25, something like that. $5.50. Crystal Palace gin. And they make a Crystal Palace vodka, which I have not seen around here. But look, they got it in all types of bottle sizes in Louisiana, plastic and glass. It's a Sazerac brand. No shock there. You know what people are doing with that stuff. If it's a plastic flat bottle, it's going right in that coat pocket and it's going to work. And it's going to be mixed with coffee and mixed with whatever else. You say, no, don't encourage that. I didn't say I was encouraging it. I'm just telling you what's going on. Are they getting off of work at 6 a.m. shift? They get off at 6 a.m. They're going to pass by a racetrack, get their Crystal Palace now. You say, well, that's the seedier side of the liquor world. Yeah, well, we all should have known already that there was a seedier side. You didn't know that? You thought everything was dignified and up and up. It is. It isn't. Thanks for having me. They thinking on it and drinking on it. Right, I'm thinking on it. No, they're not thinking on it at all. They're just drinking it. Okay, everything has its role. You say, I guess MD 2020 has a role, huh? Yeah, I guess it does. may not be a dignified position in the liquor world, wine world. I mean, I saw Thunderbird, 2 different varieties. I said, oh, baby, Thunderbird. I've never even had the guts to try that. And you know, I've tried a lot of stuff. But there it is. $3.50 a bottle, whatever. I don't know, man. It's made out of citrus. It's like citrus wine. You say citrus wine. Yeah, it's probably oranges that are not suitable for consumption. Like, you got these huge orange groves in California and Florida, and they're not going to put them in the store because they're like kind of rotted or overripe or just bruised or damaged some kind of way. But they got these companies like E&J Gallo or Caribbean Distillers down there in Auburndale, Florida, and that's their big thing. They say they make citrus wine for various applications, and what these applications are, I don't know. But apparently, for people to buy and make things like Thunderbird. Now, is it horrible? I couldn't tell you. I've never had it. I'm not dying to try it. It would be a kind of a peculiarity. Even James Mason, the famous movie star, actor, I guess, he did a commercial for Thunderbird, and he even talked about in this black and white commercial, notice its unusual flavor. I said, that was in 1961, that old commercial. All right, well, here we go. Appearance-wise, this has got to be the Piperdean because it is golder. This is straw, greenish golden. Straw doesn't look like it has color added. I cannot believe that this has color added. This one might, yeah. And you can't see this through the internet over the computer. You know, it's too blurry or whatever. But golly, it's got some sediment in it. Woo. I should have looked before I rotated, because now I know which is which. Man, look, I got so much stuff. I was trying to figure this out laying in bed, and this morning I'm trying to say, how can I balance this and schedule all this? I'm trying to figure out how to balance it and schedule it. Like, okay, the taste challenges are in play. They're going to happen. I mean, barring some bad thing or whatever, or if I go on a road trip or something, you know, or if I take a flight to Alaska. I've never been to Alaska, but I was looking at the airfare and the packages. I wasn't too pleased with the prices. I said, ooh. Pay all that money just to say I've been to Alaska? Pay all that money just to say I've been to Hawaii? I'd like to go to Hawaii if, like, Tulane football was playing a game out there, because I don't care anything about going to a beach. I like nature trails, go look around, you know, driving around, looking at stuff. Yeah, that's fine. But I mean, when we went to the Bahamas, yeah, we went to the beach. We went in the water. It was pretty, but we did meet the owner of the Saints at the casino, and he talked to us at the Atlantis. It was interesting. Tom Benson. We couldn't believe it. but that was a while ago. I'd like to go to Europe, but I don't know. The prices to me aren't looking so good. But barring something like that, I'll be doing the taste challenges. So that's all scheduled. That's like a process. That's scheduled from here to eternity. It's fitting in the solo reviews and the group reviews, duo reviews of stuff. And I've got such a backlog. I got that George Dickel Cascade Hollow Sour Mash that's no longer produced. Unopened bottle, liter, got it for $8.99. Incredible price. Somebody gave me an almost full bottle of Woodford Reserve. She said, I'm not drinking alcohol anymore. I said, why not? Because she used to be a pretty heavy hitter. She said, well, I drank one. I made a few mint juleps last year for racing season, and I felt drunk for like a whole day. It's sick, like unbalanced. I said, no, that might be a good sign not to drink it. So she said, you can have it. I'm not going to ever drink it. I said, I'll take it, of course. And then she had a bottle of Blanton's, 99% full, just barely a little bit. You want it with the horse on it? You know, I said, do I want it? Took that. These are, you know, Woodford Reserve is what, $24 a bottle, I guess. Blanton's about 50 or 60. I got that. I got the Jack Daniel's Prohibition, whatever that's called, that non-chill filtered version of Jack Daniels Jim Beam. Got that. What's that other one I bought? Chivas Regal, unopened, beautiful gift pack. Sir Malcolm. Somebody was telling me about Sir Malcolm Scotch yesterday. He told me, you want to drink one that's really smooth and good? I said, well, yeah. He said, I used to drink that Sir Malcolm. Boy, I used to love that stuff when I used to drink. This man's sick today. He can't drink. I said, I got an unopened bottle. He said that was his favorite. Now, he said, that's a budget brand. I don't know. It's budget, but he said it was his favorite. He said J&B made him humbuggish. I said, what you mean J&B made you humbuggish? He said, you know, humbuggish. Like if I would drink J&B, I'd be wanting to fight somebody. I said, what? He said, yeah, I would drink J&B. I want to fight. I'd be looking for somebody to fight. I'm thinking to myself, and I told him, I said, it's not a good thing. And then he was telling me yesterday, he says, I used to drink with this guy and he would drink J&B with milk. I said, what? Yeah, you know, like a glass of milk, and then he would put J&B in it and drink that. I said, I never heard of such a thing. He said, I tried it once. I didn't really like it, but I drank it. I said, boy, I hear something new every day, I guess. So I got that other bottle. I'm trying to think of what this other bottle of liquor is. I don't know. I guess. So I'm trying to figure out how to do it. You know what I'm saying? I want to try them all, like everything. I want to try everything. I want to try everything, but I can't do it all in one day. So if I could figure out a process schedule for this. I just did the Caliber Canadian, and that's coming into the Taste Challenges starting Sunday, I think. And that one really shined out. I thought it was going to just be some old junk, but wrong again. Trying not to look at what's in the glass because I don't want to tip myself off. This smells kind of nice, like you know, mellow. Let's see. He says, okay, now Steve from Philly. Talking about the Saints, a hymn, church hymn, the Saints, when the Saints go marching in. Yeah, I hope I'm in that number. Now, Woodford Reserve is delicious, says Steve, and Jim Beam is also good. Yes, I agree. I never had Woodford Reserve, though. But I've heard so many things good about it. I'm sure it tastes good. Can you touch on how they make cheaper varieties of whiskey? No, because I don't know what they're doing. I'm sure it's the same process as regular whiskey. It's just they might use cheaper ingredients, age less time. Or it could be a situation like beer where there really isn't that much difference between the cheap and the expensive. It's just that it's how they price point it. So their profit margin, it just might vary. Like you've heard rumors, I never heard this definitively, but you know, you hear rumors like Busch beer, it's almost exactly the same cost for Anheuser-Busch to make Busch as Budweiser, but they just choose to sell it as a budget beer. I mean, I really don't know that. And it could be the same thing for whiskey. I really just do not know. This smells kind of peaty, kind of smoky, kind of not really though. It just smells like just grain alcohol. And what is grain alcohol made from when they do Canadian, Scotch, Irish, and American whiskey? Almost invariably, it's corn. Maize, if you're in Europe, corn. Government subsidized grain. Do I think the government should subsidize grain? No, I do not. I don't agree with that. But that's the situation at hand. I don't run the government. In Asia, South Asia, East Asia, what is their filler? Rice, rice, rice. Do they make a lot of blended whiskeys in Asia? Yeah, that's almost all of it. And it's rice, rice. You taste that Suntory, Tokai, and all that. I mean, you could just tell that right off the bat, that's a rice whiskey. It is not the same as corn. And to me, it's better. I prefer rice over corn, although I like corn. Okay, now this one here is a lot more. Okay. This aroma here is so flat. What I mean is there's just almost a neutral aroma. It's not a bad aroma. It's just a neutral. So, I mean, neutral can't be bad, right? It's just devoid of anything. There's little traces of the peat, little traces of the smoke, little traces of the sweet grain, but it's so minimal. It's like you're smelling, my father would say inert. It's like you're smelling inert. Like it doesn't, it's an odorless, colorless, tasteless chemical. That's what it, I'm sorry, it's got to be Piperdean, because that was my remembrance of Piperdean, that it just had almost no character. Well, let's go with the taste. So mm. Very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, it's got an underlying corn grain whiskey. Yeah. Grain alcohol. Yeah. That's the bottom side of the taste. That bottom 80% of the flavor. But that 20% outer crust, you get the peat, the soil, the peat, the charred, the lightly charred oak barrels. You get a nice smokiness from the peat fires. It's all there. It's all there, and it's very mellow. So yeah, okay, J&B is probably 80%, 30 different, we would consider tasteless grain whiskey. The master blender over there, yeah, okay, they're going to pick up things that we can't pick up, because that's their job. We don't sit there all day. Well, some people might, but, you know, we don't sit there all day tasting that. We're not trained, okay? But the trained palate could pick that up. I heard the rice has arsenic in it. How does Budweiser get away from using it? Nobody talks about that. If it does, it's probably at such a level that it's a trace amount. It wouldn't hurt you. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of internet bull. There's a lot of bull on the internet where people hype things up and it turns out to be nothing. Like the Apple thing years ago, 25, 30 years ago with apples. Nobody wanted to buy apples because of this. Really like fake news that it was going to hurt you. It was going to hurt you. It was all lies. And then in 1987, 88 with the coconut oil. Oh, coconut oil is so bad. Turned out to be a total lie. It was perpetuated by vegetable oil companies. And coconut oil is, from what I understand, I'm not a dietitian, much better than those. And I used to work at Taco Bell, and we would cook with coconut oil, pure coconut oil. And the taco shells were so much better than then they went to peanut oil. It was inferior. I'm sorry. But there's a lot of different factions in those business areas, and they promote things that are not necessarily the case. It's the same thing with solar power, wind power. You say, I'm liberal. I'm a liberal. I think we need to have wind power and solar power to save the world. Look, man, that's all embedded big business companies. You know what I'm saying? That's big corporate America that's in bed with these politicians to make money. Okay. It's not about saving the world. They mar the environment. They mar the environment. You drive through beautiful Texas and there's windmills everywhere. Now, do you drive through a city and say, look at all the power lines? I just love this. It's so pretty. All these power lines and industrial equipment. I just love that. That's what nature is about. No one thinks that, right? So then you say, no one drives it. Look at all these windmills. That's what I like about America, all this industry. I'm a liberal. I love the environment. No, you see, you're getting fooled. Why do people get fooled? Why do people let themselves be sucked into these fantasies? You say, yeah, but you can make electricity from wind power. It only costs $10 to get every dollar of electricity. You see, only $10 for every dollar. Same with solar power. And some big companies getting money, and they're in cahoots with this politician, and they're preying on your sentiments. This is the reality in which you live, and if you don't want to live up to it. Any tips for bar etiquette? Good morning also. He said he heard vegetable oil is bad. I don't know. I use olive oil, y'all. Extra virgin olive oil. That's how I roll. I don't know about bar etiquette, because most people, when I go to bars, they don't seem to have any etiquette. They're very some of these people, they act like they want to fight. They're like this guy was telling me about the J&B and the humbuggerish. You know, I don't like to be around that kind of. Or you got these real aggressive people, they want to get into politics, and then they'll get mad, you know, angry at a bar. And it's like, hey, you brought it up, and I'm going to battle. You're not dealing with some guy off the street that doesn't know anything. You're messing with the wrong guy. I'm telling you right now. I even warn him. I say, I don't think you really want to talk about that. And then it turns into this big problem. And I'm like, you brought it up. You broached the subject. You told me you're this big conservative. And then I tried to warn you what you were dealing with. You don't know anything. You don't even understand the terminology you're using. And now you're angry. But you were warned. 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 I tried to warn people on social media. You don't know what you're fooling with. No, no, no. It's me. I'm provocative. I'm the one you got to worry about. I'll tell them. I'm pretty sure that is not the case. But we'll go along with it, and then you'll find out. And then later, I'll say, I see you unfriended me. Oh, well, the stuff you posted, I just couldn't. I said, I did not warn you. You were supposed to be the hardcore guy. You thought you were hardcore, but you weren't. You weren't. You know, you're out there like He-Man. You didn't know what you were getting into, and I warned you. But I don't feel bad about it because I warned you. You were warned. What else can you do? Okay, this one on the right is so sweet and sugary. You say, when I drank scotch, I didn't know it was going to taste like corn. What do you call it? Candy corn? Right. Was it supposed to taste like candy corn? Let's see. Scotch tastes like candy corn. Something ain't right there. You know why? Because it was $5.99 a bottle and it was super cheap, and that's why it tastes like candy corn. What's your grade for Piperdean? Yeah, I'm about to. On its own, if you drink it on its own and you don't measure it up against anything else, it might score. It might be a B minus. You know, credibly good. Or marginally good, I should say marginally good. But by golly, when you start putting it up against other products, it just gets destroyed. But Piperdean is not created to be a taste challenge whiskey. It's created to be, you know what it's created to be, alcohol delivery system. Granted, it has a pretty bottle. Go along with that. The flavor is not bad, but you may as well just buy, like my friend Dave was telling me, they got Heaven Hill at River Ridge Market for $7.99, $6.99. I said, well, that's really not that good of a price for Heaven Hill blended whiskey because I can get it for perhaps even $5.99, but more than likely $6.19. And this is about on par with Heaven Hill blended American whiskey. It's about 80% corn filler. This might have some single malts in it. I'm sure it does. It's blended, so that means it will. But I'm sure they're the lowest of the low. It is, I don't know what else to say. It just, it exists. It's probably more like a C. A B minus is probably stretching it. That's probably going a little too far. C meaning it's average. It's okay. Is it bad? No, then it would be a D. If it was bad, it would be a D. All right. But it's just kind of so-so. You can tolerate it. You don't have to choke it down, but it delivers very little. Now, if you're satisfied with that, if you want the basics, the most basic item, this will be fine. If you're looking for any kind of character, flavor, good flavor and some complexity, forget about it. But if you say, well, I'm so cheap, I just can't, well, then this will work. Because some people are that way. They just can't. If you put a gun to their head and tell them you're giving it, your money or your life, they got to think about it. Steve says, you should have Ron Terrio chart of beers and whiskey ranked in order from least to favorite, like your own beer advocate. Oh, ain't nobody wants to see that. And secondly, many of my, not all, because I don't always write a written review for every beer. Like if I'm out at the hot rod shop, I'm not going to come home and try to recollect and write a review. It's all there anyway. You can look on Beer Advocate and Rate Beer. My account is there. You can see what I've scored and stuff. I want to see it. No, it's not going to happen. All right. I would never take time to compile something like that. If you want if you want a product with some real character, and look, J&B ain't that great. It couldn't even beat Clan McGregor. Clan McGregor's $9.79 a bottle. So I'm not over here talking about J&B is world class, it's fantastic, and all of this. It's in the B range. It's good. But you're going to have to pay if you want to play, okay? Now, if you're real chinchy and you don't want to pay, you say, I want some flavor, but okay, well, then get Cutty Sark. But that's about as low as you can go, and then you may as well just get Piperdean. So Cutty Sark's going to have a little smoke, it's going to have a little peat, it's going to have a little, and let's focus on the word little. But it isn't going to present a whole lot by design, because if you read their website, it's designed to be bland, so can't complain. But that would destroy Piperdean, okay? And it's not even that great. So yeah, J&B kills Piperdean. There's no contest. It's what I predicted all along. It's not a contest, really. Now the next one coming up is the Scoresby against J&B. I think J&B is going to beat Scoresby. I don't think Scoresby's too hot. It's one of the most bland items you can get a hold of. It's not too cheap around here. Now in Georgia, where John Anili lives, it's $8.99 a bottle. Here, $15.49 a bottle. Same size bottle, $7.50. Not a value. Why is it expensive in Louisiana? I don't know. Just is. But I don't think that's going to be much of a challenge. So just to save yourself some time, you may not even want to watch it. You might say, I don't want to take 30 minutes to watch a video where it's no kind of challenge. I would agree with that. I wouldn't encourage you to watch that. People say, look, he's encouraging people not to watch his own videos. Well, I'm trying to be honest. It's going to happen, but I'm telling you already what's going to happen. So I'll check the tag, but I know it's going to say J&B. Yep, J&B, Justinian Brooks. And here's the homely girl. It's no dates, but she might marry a homely guy and then they have a happy life together and they'll do all right. This one is kind of this girl, her morals may be questionable, and there'll be a lot of excitement early on, but maybe a tragic shipwreck life later down the road, a little bit, sort of. So sometimes the glitz and the glamour is not all it's wrapped up to be, as we've learned from television and radio. You should have a camera running in your kitchen cooking lunch. I bet people would tune in. Okay. How's the Ram truck? It's very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. I'm learning new things about it all the time. There's features on it I didn't realize existed. I'm very happy with it. But I always did think Ram was good. Dodge, formerly, used to be called Dodge trucks. Man, I knew this guy had a 1972 Ram, Dodge, not a Ram, it was Dodge, whatever it was called, Dodge 1500, whatever it was, 72. I remember when he bought it new. I was 4 years old, brand new. Boy, he kept that truck. He might still have it. He would always work on it, a little bit. Oh, how he loved that Dodge. Then he bought another one, like a 91 or 90 or something. I know Chrysler had a lot of automobile problems with their cars in the late 70s, early 80s, quality control issues and all. But I think what kept them going was their trucks. I think they always did have a handle on trucks. You know what I mean? Trucks. That was sort of like their strength. Trucks. That's just what I've seen. What are the features? Kept the truck clean as a whistle. Yeah, it's very. I try to keep it clean, but in the winter when it's raining and all, it's hard. How many pounds can you tow with your rain? I don't know. I don't tow anything. I'm not a person that tows. It'll tow a small boat in a trailer, you know, something like that. A lightweight trailer, a lightweight boat, hauling some furniture. It's a light, very light duty truck. Very light duty. It has the chrome package and it has the power equipment group. It's not a base model. It's a step, 2 steps above the base model, but I got it for a base model price. Actually, I got it cheaper than what they wanted for the base model here. I was like, why would I pay for a base model here when I can go 20 miles east and get 2 steps above for less than what you're selling? I mean, come on now. Yeah, I could buy a camper and travel the country, but I'm not going to. I'll just stay in hotels. I would like to visit many breweries. I wouldn't care to visit all the breweries. It gets a little dull after a while. It's the same process. Like, then we pour in the grain, and then we do the sparging, and then we do this. Like, okay, all right. Now, so Piperdean doesn't measure up, but then who didn't know that already? J&B destroys it, but who didn't know that already? In 2 days, you're going to see a repeat of this video. It's going to be J&B killing, destroying, massacring Scoresby. I don't have a lot of regard for Scoresby. It's a pretty bottle. It's aged 3 years. It's been acquired by Sazerac as of last month. And it's bland. It's dull. Doesn't taste bad. Just doesn't taste like much. Scoresby. Now, if anybody wants to see what I bought on the last road trip to the western side of the Mississippi River, let me know and I'll show you. Otherwise, I'm getting off this video. I live east of the Mississippi River, and the eastern part of the Mississippi River is sort of like the boundary between eastern United States and western, right? National Geographic magazine even talked about that back when they, you know, talked about geography. But I'm 1 mile, actually I'm less than 1 mile from the river. So that's how close I am to the western side of the United States. You cross the river, it's like a different world in culture and in alcohol selection, honestly. Yes, I do review wines quite a bit. And I was thinking about doing a revisit this very day. This very day. From Paul Masson. Oh yeah, remember them? Okay, well, this was an interesting video. Wouldn't call it fascinating. I would say that it was exactly as I predicted. I did think Clan McGregor was going to trip me up, and it did. Worse than I thought 2 days ago. Didn't think Piperdean would do much. It did not. It never will. J&B's holding its own. How many drinks do you have a day? It averages 22 beers a week, Steve. 22 beers a week. About 4 ounces of wine a day. And about 1 serving of whiskey a day, or brandy or whatever, you know, like a little, like this little tiny amounts. Like, that's it. People ever accuse me, say, you're lightweight. And I tell them, well, okay, that's the way I like to be. Lightweight. He says, oh, okay, amazing, discipline. Yeah, you got to be disciplined. You got to be disciplined. I have a friend, multiple friends, who unfortunately don't have the discipline, and now the ship has hit the rocks. And those shipwrecks can be very bad, very, very bad, very, very bad. Alcohol is like fire. Useful, but dangerous. Useful, but dangerous. And you should drink with trepidation, and people do not. Do not. Thanks for watching this video production.